How hard you should study English is determined by a lot of things. In today's discussion, we've got quite a few tools for you. We've got some visuals for you. We've got some steps to help you out.
Let's talk about it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Bilingual Friends English. Studying language is really hard, and a lot of times we struggle with how hard we do need to actually study the language that we want to study. Oh, it's so confusing. One of the first things you've got to do in this language learning journey of yours is to know where you are going, know where you want to go. You have to set that goal. You have to get it in place, because if you don't know where you're going to be aimless, and that changes the name of the game. A person who runs a 400-meter dash does not run the same as a person who runs a 1,600-meter dash. And so for you guys, what you need to do is, if you don't have a hard set goal right now, check out the link in the description below, because we have a goal setting worksheet for you that you can pause this video, go grab it, come back, and as you work through this process of finding out what's the effort going to be like on a regular daily basis, gotta always keep that goal in mind, because for some of you, that means studying 10 hours a day. For some of you, that could be studying 30 minutes a day. Grab that goal setting sheet in the link below before you get into all of the what ifs and question marks that we will get to in this video.
Absolutely. Part of what might help you work through that sheet is having this visual of a Venn diagram. Now, I want you to take 3 circles, make them overlap in the middle. I want you to write your talents. What are you good at in terms of language? What are you just so good at? Are you good with grammar? Are you good with pronunciation? Are you good at listening? Are you good at writing? What is it that you're good at? Then I want you to go to another circle, and I want you to write your passions. What is it that you enjoy regardless of the language? And I'm not talking about just writing down hobbies and things unless you have a hobby that's tied to language deeply. Are you passionate about podcasts or music? Are you passionate about connecting with people? Are you passionate about writing? Are you passionate about reading? What is it that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, that has something to do with language? In the third circle, I want you to write your needs. What do you need English for? What do you need to travel? Do you need to work? Do you need to go to school in an American university? I mean, what is it? Define the needs. Maybe you're a parent, you need to be able to communicate with your teachers or your child's teachers in school. Maybe you need to be able to get a certification as a bilingual teacher so that you can teach here in the United States. Like, what is it? What are your needs? Having this understanding of each of these areas and see where they overlap is very, very helpful for identifying how hard you should be studying, what you should be going for, what should your goal be overall.
Yeah, this is kind of taking a more 30,000-foot approach to like looking at your goals and seeing where you need to go. Because a lot of times I feel like people get stuck by seeing the trees and they miss the forest. The language learning journey is a very long game. Mm-hmm. So one of the best things you can do is to just know yourself and know where you're going to need English, where you're going to be passionate in English, and where you're going to just be skilled in English already. And taking that will help you springboard you further as we look into these other factors that could make it to where you need to study a bit longer, or maybe you can take some faster steps toward fluency.
Once you have defined your goal, you need to understand where you're coming from, okay? There's going to be a lot of factors at play here, like what is your current level in English? When was the last time you studied English? And in addition to that, what kind of learner are you? Are you more of a oral learner? Do you learn better in groups? Do you learn better alone? As an introvert, what is your learning style? Does online work for you? Does in-person work better for you? Do you need to be immersed in the culture? Like, what is it? Another factor you should take into account is how many other languages you've learned. Are you coming from one language? And how close is that language or any of the other languages that you know? How close are they to English? How big of a jump are you going to have to make to understand working in English, working with English grammar, getting used to the pronunciation of English? There's so many factors here at play that really impact how quickly you can grow.
Right. If you know your end goal, but you don't know where you are starting from, you're largely in the same place. Am I going to have to study 10 hours a day, or am I going to have to study 10 minutes a day? And that's on you. And it's way more than just trying to do a free test and figure out, oh, I'm C1 or I'm B1 or whatever that is. You need to figure out what kind of English you really have. And just like Amber said, a large one is just seeing what your native tongue is. That could be one of the most time-consuming factors by making a further jump. Let's flip it. A lot of Americans, we struggle really hard to learn Eastern languages. So Chinese, Korean, Japanese, they're very foreign to us and they're very difficult for us. But if we take the same route and we try to study Spanish or French or German, the jump is not as far. The journey is not as far. So for you guys, what you need to do is to just take an honest look at where you are right now. I'm not just talking about B1. I'm not just talking about A2. I'm talking about all of your skills of where you start. And then with the goal in mind and your starting place, now we can get from point A to point B in a more efficient manner.
Speaking of getting an understanding of where you are starting from right now, today, using a standardized test is difficult because it doesn't give you specific feedback. Yeah, it gives you feedback on some things, but it doesn't tell you, okay, what pronunciation mistakes are you making consistently? It doesn't give you a list. It doesn't tell you your spoken grammar and how that's going. It doesn't tell you about the specific things you struggled with in writing. Sure, it might say, well, you didn't have like a very clear structure, or you didn't have enough word length, or you didn't speak fast enough in pace. Okay, there's different metrics that each test, whether it's the IELTS or the TOEFL or the TOEIC exams, they test different metrics, but they're not going to give you lists of things to improve in order to take the test and do better. They're not going to give you lists of things to improve to become a better English speaker. They're instead going to give you these generic things like this that you can work toward in 100 different ways. So if you want a list of specific pronunciation struggles that you have that you may not hear, or specific spoken grammar issues that you have that you may not know, or specific writing struggles that you have that you may not know, you can hire a tutor for that. You can ask a tutor, hey, I need an evaluation of my English. I want you to list afterward. I want you to make a very detailed list of every mistake I make in our conversation or every mistake I make in my writing. And I want you to give me that list so that I know what the problem is and tell me what each single thing is, what mistake is. If you don't tell them to label the mistake or how to change that mistake to improve it, they might do that automatically, but they might not tell you exactly what that mistake is. You won't be able to look up ways to combat that. You won't be able to look up ways to fix it. So if they say, yeah, you put the adjective in the wrong place, okay, you might be able to understand, okay, I need to do something with adjectives. What kind of adjective is it? It's very difficult. If you have all the time in the world, oh, this is great. You can just go through that list, type it into ChatGPT and try to figure it all out. But if you don't have all the time in the world and your time is precious, then you need to have some very specific steps. You need to have a tutor that comes right out of the gate knowing exactly what to tell you and can give you accurate lists right away so that you know what to work on. And ideally, they can also give you things to work on for that so that you don't have to go and spend time finding those things. If you're one of those people that struggle with time, let us know. We actually offer these evaluations and it's very detailed. You get a spreadsheet of all the things and we get a breakdown for you of each thing and what to search for in order to improve. Or if you want to join our Fluency Fast Track program, we got you covered there too.
Amber has said this a few times because it is a significant factor in how long this language journey takes: time. And specifically, how much time do you have available? A lot of times people break down the journey to get to fluency to say, oh, I have to study 30 minutes a day or an hour a day or 2 hours a day or 5 hours a day. But the real question is, how much time do you have? Because if we're going to measure, oh, we have 24 hours and a day to study English. No, you don't. You have to sleep. You have to eat. You have to work. And so taking an honest look at where your English is, as far as time goes, the percentage of time that you can actually spend studying is a big factor that you need to determine. I was never a guy that wanted to put pen to paper to try to get a schedule down. But the moment I did it, the moment I really put pen to paper, that was the moment I realized I can't even do this theoretically. So how can I do it practically? My theoretical goal, my 2026 goal is already shattered to pieces. How can I then be able to do it realistically? So you need to get down now how much time you have that's available now, not in a future time, not in a when time is easier time, but now how much time do you have available? And you can use that number in order to figure out how much time you have to spend to study English because you figure out how much time you have to spend.
One thing I will say here is you need to be ruthless. You're asking this question, how hard do I need to study to get to where I want to go? It's not so much that as what are you willing to cut out of your life and your schedule in order to get to that goal? Especially if you're an adult with kids and you work and you're trying to study English on top of all of that. I mean, there is very little time in the day for yourself to begin with, right? And then to add language learning to that and to assume that you're going to have the energy and brain space to do that consistently until you build it in as a normal habit that you're going to do every single time at a certain time of day, it's not going to happen until it becomes built in like that. But you've got to be willing to cut something out in order to do that. And you've got to be kind of ruthless about that.
Yeah, Amber and I have said this a lot on this channel and even outside. A lot of times, one of the hardest things that language learners struggle with, even though it's one of the things that nobody talks about, is that there's some element of replacement that happens when you study English. You can't just watch your Korean TV shows in Korean anymore. Now you have to watch them with an English dub or English subtitles. It's not as convenient. It's not as familiar. You have this foreignness that you have to incorporate into your life decisions. You have to change the language of the video game you're playing. You have to change the language that you are surrounded by. And a lot of times that includes elements of replacing things that you like, those songs. Now you have to listen to English songs, those books. Now you have to read English books. The thing feels like more work at the beginning. And just like Amber said, when it's not already a habit, it is an uphill climb to get to the point where you're just like, this is just what I do now. But before it's, this is what I do now, it's difficult to replace the parts of you in your native language with a part of your tongue that is not your native tongue.
We've met many, many foreigners who they live here. They live here in the United States. Their kids speak English. They have been here for 20-something years and they do not speak English. Maybe they could do some survival language, like say car, taxi, things like that. But they don't actually communicate very much or hardly at all in English. And how did that happen? They're immersed in the culture, but not in their homes. They didn't make the changes. They didn't make those replacements in order to make that possible. And so, likewise, we've met many people who can speak fluently in other languages and to countries they've never visited before. The way they were able to do that is because they switched things. They did that replacement in their home, in their lifestyle, in order to make it happen. And it's not easy. And yes, practically speaking, when you finally go to that country and start speaking that language, it is different because you can't find totally unpolished audio very easily from home or on the internet. It's different than being in the room actually communicating with people. But you can go and move to an English-speaking country and still not learn English. It doesn't matter if you're immersed. It doesn't matter if you're surrounded by it. What matters is how much you're actively pushed outside of your comfort zone and having to do the language. And yes, you do have to actually do that in your home as well.
I cannot agree more with what Amber said. We have had so many friends and students who have decided, I want to be fluent in English. I'm going to push really hard to get that visa. I finally got that visa. I got the opportunity. And then honestly, it doesn't produce anything. We've met people who get 4-year degrees here in America and they still can barely introduce themselves. 4-year degrees in an English-speaking country in an English program. This isn't an ESL program. They go and they try to just go hard and they get their own degree here in America, but their communication is still really poor. What you guys have to do as you're setting this goal, as you're seeing how much time and seeing how hard I should study, already we're going to tell you it's going to be hard. The question is how hard? And that question comes into how much time do you have? How much background do you have in English already? Yeah. What is your native tongue? It also just includes your passion for language or your need for language. So that goal comes back and it's always dependent on what is your purpose here. Is your purpose to be a poet? Then your English has to be really good. But is your purpose just to talk and have a survival conversation when you go to a restaurant? Your language doesn't have to be that good. Honestly, you can figure out the context pretty easily. So you have to really take an honest look at what is your goal now, 2026 or beyond. Try to figure out what your goal is, where you are, how much time you have available, and then you can reverse engineer that to make an honest goal that you can incorporate in your life that becomes, this is what I do now.
One thing I really want to say, just to make sure that it's said in this video, because there's going to be people telling us this down in the comments, I know, you don't have to be fluent in English. I honestly, with where technology is, you really don't need it. You don't have to have it. This is all up to your personal desires. You can have parent-teacher conferences using a translation app. There's some great intelligent things out there to be able to do this. You can fill out most documents or figure things out with ChatGPT or some other AI software. But if it's important to you to be able to speak and communicate and express yourself comfortably in English, then that's you. That's your personal thing. We're not sitting here saying everybody needs to be fluent in English. We're not even saying people who study English need to become fluent, whatever that means. Do you need a C2 level in English? No. No. Do you need to be able to write poetry or books in English? No, you don't. Not unless that is a personal goal that is important to you. So decide what it is that you want, how far you want to go, because language learning is difficult. It is a long haul thing. It's a long-term thing. It's not something you just decide, oh, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it now. It's difficult and it takes a lot. So if it's not important to you, if the passion isn't there in any way, and if the need is not there, then the odds of you actually getting to any kind of comfortable level of English is not very high. That's just the frank way to say that. It's just not going to be doable for you because life is going to hit hard. Things are going to get difficult. You're going to run out of money or struggle with money or something, or it's just going to rob you of motivation. So if the need isn't very strong or the passion isn't very strong, then you're wasting your time.
In this video, we've talked about how you can get to this place and how much time it's going to take. And if you need somebody to help you out with that, Amber's already mentioned our program, Fluency Fast Track. We do this all the time with our students who are trying to push towards fluency. If that's something that you're interested in, check out the links below.
All right, guys, that's it for this one. I'll catch you next week.